Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy. And if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I would assume you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan if you're tuning into this YouTube channel, if you're watching this YouTube video. We're going through some tough times, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're experiencing really some hardship when it comes to this Kansas City Chiefs team. In games that we would often anticipate to win based on trends, based on things that have occurred. I mean, I understand in the years past, we've lost to Buffalo when we go on the road to Buffalo, and then we find a way to turn that switch on and win in the playoffs. But ladies and gentlemen, right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are not even in the playoff hunt. I mean, they're not even considered right now to be in the playoffs. They're on the outside looking in, so I guess they would be playoff hunt, but it's just unfortunate that this is how this season, which really kind of built up in a way that almost was like a revenge tour, like Patrick Mahomes was going to have his revenge and Travis Kelce was going to go out on this extremely high note. And I'm not going to make a super negative video because it's just not the style of the beat of KC. We're obviously very optimistic over here. We like to keep the positivity extremely high. That's just how I function. But there are things that are noticeably frustrating. There are things as a fan that I would say are extremely discouraging. And we're going to talk about that. We're really going to dive in and we're going to talk about what caused the Kansas City Chiefs to lose to a very decimated defense from the Buffalo Bills. That was a huge talking point, even from my end. I mean, I really went through in my video and highlighted and identified how decimated this secondary was for the Buffalo Bills, how their defensive front was missing some players, some key players. You know, there are some positive things that obviously the Kansas City Chiefs were able to do, but there's a lot of things that they just were not able to execute. There was often times where we would sustain an injury and we would have to replace that person and they would come in cold. There was a lot of things that really kind of culminated, and props go off to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, adversity. Outside of this game being in, Buffalo's home stadium, they faced adversity outside of that. I mean, they really endured a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the football, and they were able to really contain Patrick Mahomes and this high-powered, high-level offense. I mean, we're going to get into that, and it's just the way the game went, the way it unfolded. So really, what we're looking at is the Kansas City Chiefs drop a Week 9 matchup to the Buffalo Bills in Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, 28-21. This puts the Chiefs at 5-4, puts their playoff position at risk. The Denver Broncos were able to win another football game. They are at 7-2. The Los Angeles Chargers were able to win a game, and they came out victorious. The Raiders obviously are continuing to be the bottom feeders, but ladies and gentlemen, this Kansas City Chiefs team still has a lot of AFC West opponents to face, and it's only going to get harder. They have to face an Indianapolis Colts team that took a serious loss today. So they really are at a disadvantage when it comes to really, I mean, they're looking uphill. It's not like an easy coast or, it's just not an easy season this year, and they're facing adversity. Now, the Bills' offensive efficiency and matchup advantage, and I think really that is where they took advantage of it. They really schemed well. They had a perfect game plan on the offensive side of the football. Target the tight ends and hand it off to James Cook. I mean, that's what we're going to talk about. Josh Allen completed 23 of 26 passes. He was 88.5% completion rate for 273 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed for 2 scores. They did their own modified version of the tush push and were able to get in the end zone. The Bills attacked the Chiefs' coverage using their tight ends in the run game. I mean, that's what they did. Titan Dalton Kincaid, 6 catches for 101 yards and a touchdown. That was a huge concern coming into this game. Running back James Cook, I even talked about it. James Cook was the X factor. If James Cook was able to be limited, you were going to really force the hand for Josh Allen to have to really play well. They were missing Joshua Palmer. There were a lot of questions, really kind of who was the target's going to be. I don't know how much Keon Coleman really contributed, but the fact that it was James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, that was the show. And obviously, when it came down to it, Josh Allen stepped up. Now, the Chiefs' defense struggled to contain the Bills' multi-dimensional attack, and especially in the first half. And I think that's a big key thing to think about. Now, obviously, flipping it over to the offensive side for the Chiefs, there were a lot of stalled drives, stalled moments. They only converted 3 of their 13 third downs. They would be forced into multiple fourth downs. They did convert a few, but they had a failed conversion. And that was a big failed conversion, or failed opportunity, excuse me. They had a drive that just, Hollywood Brown, ladies and gentlemen, the ability to catch that ball, fall backwards, and just be within inches of falling into the end zone. And then for the Kansas City Chiefs to really come up and just not get anything touchdown-wise is really a hindrance. They had that drive to the goal line before halftime. They received the ball after halftime. That's how Andy Reid functions. If they would have got in the end zone and came out and had some type of contribution from the offense, they would have been, they probably would have had a good opportunity to win this football game. And heck, even at the end, ladies and gentlemen, it came down to a Hail Mary where we could have tied the game. So really that drive stalled, and we were able to get a field goal instead of a touchdown that left the team trailing and under more pressure. When this team gets a lot of pressure, you have your right tackle go out, and you have to have Wanya Morris come in. You're missing your starting left tackle, and I don't want to discredit what has been happening at left tackle, because we've really had some good play, but he was exposed this time. Moore was exposed, and he was taken advantage of quite a bit. This offensive line was not able to, withstand what the Buffalo Bills were providing. They constantly ran 2 high safeties, so you couldn't really get the deep ball, and we threw it. There were times where we converted some deep passes, but there was often more times or not where we just did not convert. Now, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, for the first time in a while, was locked down, and somewhat by Buffalo's defense. Fewer completions than usual. He didn't throw any touchdowns. He had an interception. It was more of a arm punt, but he still had an interception, a turnover. Something we talked about before heading into this game of significance. Who's going to win the turnover battle? The Buffalo Bills did not have a turnover. Some key late moment turnovers. Again, we're talking about that. Late in the game, the Chiefs drove into the Bills' territory, had a chance, but on 3rd and 10 from Buffalo's 33, they threw an interception to Maxwell Harrison that effectively sealed the game. While the Chiefs did rally, scored a touchdown, a 2-point conversion that put them 28-21. They were down only 7. They ran out of time and options. Defensive lapses in critical times. The Bills converted on drives when the Chiefs' defense gave up chunks. A 47-yard strike to Kincaid to set up a touchdown. I believe, who was it that tripped and fell? One of our linebackers was in coverage. I think it was Drew Tranquill. Just tripped over his own feet. Dalton Kincaid wide open. Although the Chiefs got some late defensive stops and earlier damage limited, 21-10 at half. And that was a big thing to overcome, especially against a Buffalo Bills team that is in their home crowd. It had their home crowd behind them. This team really came out and played. We always say every year, the Chiefs are going to get the best from the Bills. It's a Super Bowl opportunity, and that's how they present it. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. And when you go into their house, you got to play the A game, and they just did not do that. So with this loss, the Kansas City Chiefs again fell to 5-4, which puts them out of the playoff spot at the moment in a very competitive AFC. We're seeing that. The Steelers upset, I would say upset, the Colts. They really forced a lot of turnovers. The Denver Broncos are clicking and finding ways to win. I mean, it was a last-second field goal or last attempt field goal, and they ended up winning against the Houston Texans, who their quarterback went out due to look like a concussion. So they were facing David Mills. The Chargers continue to play well. So the AFC as a whole is still a well-oiled machine. And so you're losing momentum. And I think that's a big thing. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys saw of this football game. It's frustrating. It's demoralizing. As a team that you expect to constantly make the playoffs, a team that you see what the offense is capable of doing. I mean, I felt like we had some pretty good contributions from Kareem Hunt. Let's take a look at the quick box score real quick. Yeah, Kareem Hunt, 11 carries for 49 yards. He had a touchdown on the ground again. He averaged 4.5 on the ground. Again, Patrick Mahomes was 15 of 34 for 250 yards. He averaged 7.4 through the air, threw an interception, was sacked 3 times for 24 yards. He only had a passer rating of 57.2. And when you have Josh Allen on the opposite side, throwing for 273 yards, completing 23 of 26, was sacked 3 times, but ineffective, and 123.2 rating. James Cook went off. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see what happens when you have an effective run game to complement the offense. James Cook, 27 carries, 114 yards, averaged 4.2 on the ground. Josh Allen would carry the ball 6 times for 19 yards, averaging 3.2. Really, his significant carries came in the goal line situation where he scored 2 touchdowns. And then Ty Johnson, although he didn't have a ton of carries, he only had 2 for 8 yards. He did rush in for a touchdown, and it was like wide open. Dalton Kincaid, ladies and gentlemen, 6 receptions, 101 yards, 16.8 on the ground, average. 1 touchdown. He has 6 targets, completed all of them. Khalil Shakur, 7 of 8 for 43 yards. Dawson Knox, the 1 attempt was for 30 yards. I mean, Elijah Moore, Jackson Hawes, Keon Coleman only had 2 for 2 for 17, so that answers my question. And really, this team just kind of used their versatility. Where on the other side, Rashee Rice, 4 for 80, was targeted 7 times. Hollywood Brown, 2 for 73. I mean, those were 2 big-time catches. Travis Kelce, 4 for 66 on 5 targets. Xavier Worthy was not used a whole lot and really was a missed opportunity. Had 3 receptions for 7 targets and 23 yards. Only averaged 7.7. I mean, when you got a speedy guy like that, you got to utilize him. And at times, I feel like we're doing too many bubble screens. We're doing too many, and I get the idea. He's able to be shifty. He's got the versatility. But guys see that on film. Teams study what the Kansas City Chiefs do on offense. And when you continuously run the same types of plays, they're going to know that that's what you're going to do when you get into crunch situations. And that's what happened. Kareem Hunt contributed 1 of 2 for 6 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster only had 1 catch for 2 yards. Noah Gray, Tyquan Thornton, Brashard Smith all had 1 target, but just did not catch anything. Now defensively, Nick Bolton, 14 total tackles, 5 solo. He did have a tackle for a loss. Trent McDuffie, 12 total tackles, 5 solo, and a sack. I mean, Trent McDuffie played out of his mind. Brian Cook, 8 and 6 solo. He did have a pass deflection. Noel Williams, ladies and gentlemen, again, the rookie that just keeps shining. I do think he got exposed 1 time in this game. He had 7 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, and really that was it. George Karlaftis had a half a sack. It looks like Gelati had half a sack. It really, at times with them, it felt like sometimes it was swaying, but the Buffalo Bills did not break, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys thought of this game. It was a tough loss, for sure. I appreciate you all checking out this video, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, comment down below, make sure you like this video, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.